Welcome to the Soft Rebellion podcast, a homecoming to the creative power of your female body. Our world uproots us from the gifts of the feminine, the intuitive, the instinctual, the cyclical, the soft. What's the result? Patriarchal cultures of perfectionism, shame, and disconnect that leave us constantly running, never arriving. Imagine a world of women softly rebelling, claiming our cyclicity, our weirdness, and our rest as we courageously cultivate a deep and delicious relationship to our female bodies. My name is Florina. I'm an osteopath, dancer, writer, and coach. I've been on my own journey sparked by an eating disorder to come home to the wild, poetic anatomy of my female body and awaken my creative power. And I invite you to join me and my guests, trailblazing teachers, healers, and creatives, as we each reclaim our own soft rebellion. Hello, softly rebellious friend, and welcome to another episode, which is, again, such a meaningful conversation, as I've had a wonderful friend, teacher, mentor, companion on the podcast, Evie, a woman who I met in a very profound moment of my life and in a very deeply profound way, as I met her as a facilitator for a practice called the Work. And that's one thing which Evie does. Evie is a facilitator of the Work. She's also a yoga kundalini teacher and also trained in nonviolent communication. And really, she's just a magical, wonderful space holder for various formats and forms and class and sessions of deeply transformative work. And together, we were diving into her journey and then our beginning and into what the work is and why it is so softly rebellious and so fruitful and important. And we did the work. And I'm actually going to shut up now before I'm repeating myself, because I did walk us into the conversation by sharing how we met. So I think let's dive in. Enjoy. And hello again, and welcome, Evie, on the podcast. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Florina. It's such a delight to see you again. I am really, really thrilled to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. When I woke up this morning and kind of landed or leaned into our conversation, I thought, goodness me, this is so meaningful for me to share you with my community, to share your work about the work with my community. And it felt a little bit like I was thrown back to that summer when we met the first time. And that was in summer. It was on a hot summer day. I was in the Swiss mountains. I don't remember. I don't know where you were at that point. Summer 2020. It was the summer of the first lockdown.
Oh,
it
yes.
was, yeah. It was a very challenging moment for me, which is why I reached out to you. It was summer 2020 when I, I guess in a way, had kind of the last eating disorder or disordered eating thoughts flare up with that, just everything we've happened in the world. I completely fell into something. And in that moment, it was a good friend of mine told me, read the book, Loving What Is. And I read that book and I knew I have to reach out to someone who is facilitating the work. And it became such a catalyst. I thought catalyst is the word. The work was such a catalyst on my, kind of on that really big, bold end run. It's an ongoing end run, but it felt like a big, bold end run on that homecoming journey. And look what I found again today. my book, Poetry of the Truth. That's what I started on that day when I met you the first time.
Oh, wow.
Poetry of Truth.
Wow, I feel so touched to hear that. I really, really do. Poetry of truth. Isn't that what it's about? Truth.
That's what it is about.
Yeah, truth. Truth and inner wisdom for me, it's tapping into this inner wisdom that is here beyond the stories that I keep. I noticed just recently, wow, it's a story I keep telling. And if it's a great story, if it's a peaceful story, then I'm peaceful, I'm content, I'm calm. And oftentimes it's a story of stress or discontent or unease. And then look at what it does to my body and my presence in the world. So yeah, beautiful reconnecting in that way and remembering, because yeah, beautiful remembering.
That's just that's that's the essence of that's the essence, exactly, tapping into inner wisdom beyond stories. And you know, Evie, I think that is for me the path of the soft rebellion. She who dares to tap into inner wisdom beyond stories.
Yeah. Beyond stories and beyond fear. I feel that in this world, in this life, I personally have been so conditioned with fear. And just as I say that, I feel the heartbreak. I feel the clenching of the body and the fear, how the fear controls and dominates and suppresses. And as I become clearer, this work is about clarity, it's meditation, it's becoming clearer and clearer and seeing through these veils of illusion. And as that happens, the world I become free, I become inquisitive and curious and connected, and I mean, I'm so hungry for more. It's like, just give me everything. I was talking to a friend, give me the whole enchilada. I want everything.
Now I'm really on to dive in. Yes, seeing through the veil of illusion. And that's the so exciting part about the work, that yes, it's a lifelong process and we are never there, but with each time we do it, yes, we taste more of that freedom. And doesn't it, I feel, for me, it literally very physically always feels like, I get a dress which is too tight gets kind of finally cut off my body, and I can breathe.
Yeah, exactly. You're just reminding me of a moment. I think I was 3 years into my training program, and I remember sitting in my lounge, and I had been working on my father's stories, which I'd held, of course, all my life, of this story of violence. And there I was experiencing, through the work that I was doing, through this inquiry, this very expansive shift in my cells. It felt like such a somatic change in my being, and that was quite a marker in how I felt into this body, how I felt the difference of the contraction and the limitation, and then the expansion and the freedom once the mind gets clear. It's a different place entirely. It is. I love what you're saying. It's like taking off a coat or a tight dress. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
we free the mind, and with that we create space for our whole being to be free.
Yes.
And I think now I hear lots of listeners, I feel people listening and thinking about what is the work. Let us wind back a little bit, and maybe you could, maybe we just need to kind of give some explanation to what the work is, and that might bring you into, I would love to hear from your story, from your journey, Evie, how you found to the work. And
yeah, lovely. Yeah, thank you. So the Work of Byron Katie is a process where we are looking at identifying what we're thinking moment by moment by moment. And if there's stress in my world, I'm going to identify and question what it is I'm thinking. And I want to get really close and intimate with my thoughts. So it's almost like thought by thought by thought. And as I identify a thought in a situation, I am going to sit with myself in meditation. And so this I do this with myself. That is my training program. It remains so, and I offer that to people that I sit with, to groups that I sit with. So this that's the first process, to identify exactly what it is I'm thinking and believing. And then once I've identified that, I really encourage myself and others to write it down, so it's down on paper, and it already has a settling effect once it's written down, because it's like it's taken from the mind, from the personal, put it down on paper. I can see it and look at it, and it already becomes a little bit more distanced from the personal. So then I walk it through this 4-step process. So or 2-step process. There's 4 questions. There's what we call 4 questions and a turnaround. So say for instance, I'm thinking, he doesn't appreciate me. So I'm with my friend in a bar, and he gets me an alcoholic drink when I've asked for an apple juice, and the mind pops in. The mind creates this thought: he doesn't appreciate me. So there's my thought, and I'm going to walk it through these questions. So is it true? He doesn't appreciate me. That's question 1. Then question 2, if I find a yes, like yeah, he doesn't appreciate me, I'm going to ask question 2. Can I absolutely know it's true? And then I walk through question 3, which is, how do I react? What happens in my world when I'm thinking he doesn't appreciate me? So I empty out. It's what we call give myself space to empty out completely, tantrum, let all the feelings out, really feel the feelings, express them. And then once I feel I've emptied out in question 3, I ask question 4, I sit in, who am I in that same situation at the bar with my friend, without the thought he doesn't appreciate me? And I start trying that on, like the dress that you spoke about. It's that dress of, what's that like to be me without this thought? I'm at the bar, I'm listening, I'm listening to my thoughts, I'm connected to him, just trying that out. And then what we do is we move to what we call the turnarounds, which is trying on a different dress, if you like, a different dress, a different perspective. So it would be, I don't appreciate me in that situation, looking at that and trying that on, and looking at all the ways I don't appreciate me, looking at the ways I don't appreciate him in that situation at the bar, and then also looking at how he does appreciate me. So that's the process, and it really is a meditation practice. So it takes some practice being still in this meditation, and I was introduced to it quite, I think, by chance in 2006 when I was sitting with my marriage guidance counsellor. I was experiencing this heartbreaking news of my husband seeing someone else, and I was in deep trauma. It had triggered all my insecurities. And at some point I think it was my 4th session maybe, the really beautiful woman had walked me through this process just in 20 minutes. And from the beginning of sitting with her, when I was in despair and self-destructive places, I found laughter, I found lightness, and I was sitting there thinking, what happened? What did she just do? She recommended the book Loving What Is, and I bought it, and that was the beginning of my journey. So it was 2006, sitting with this wonderful woman who I'll always remember, Olivia, and yeah, I'm so super grateful to her for introducing me to this practice, which has really transformed my world.
Thank you so much for sharing the process. Of course I know the process, but it's It's actually so good to hear it over and over again. And I think what really struck me today when you said getting intimate with my thoughts, because I think that is the really touching part for me about that process, how we get intimate, truly authentically intimate with that part, which it would be easier to just keep judging and pushing away and say, oh, my bloody stupid fucking thoughts, when actually exactly those gunky, sticky thoughts can be a gateway to more intimacy with ourselves, to truly get to know ourselves. And like you just said, I can imagine how you were sitting there and suddenly had to laugh, so authentically laugh, right?
Yes, yeah.
What happens in that, or what do you think what happened in that moment, Evie, when you had to...
I think, oh my goodness, that's such a beautiful question. I think in remembering it now, the images in my mind that I were holding of my husband with this girlfriend in the bedroom, what they were doing, the images shifted, and I became an intimate member in that room with them. I wasn't any longer disconnected. I was included. You know, these needs that we live with, or that I live with, of being needed and understood and feeling connected to. It's like these run, right? These needs run, and there I was with them, no longer excluded, and free to be there, free to walk away. And it was such a different light. It was lightness, it was illumination, it was really, really touching. Because this experience of contraction and hate, I think hate and anger and frustration and don't know what the hell is going on here, what's like my whole world upside down, and then all of a sudden there's this laughter, and like I never imagined being there with them. It's like all of a sudden, oh, a threesome? I mean, she's gorgeous, like, well, why not? And that's what, in 20 minutes, you know, those few minutes at the end of the session, that's what was happening. I was with them. I felt connected. My heart was wide open to whatever was happening. It really is, it's loving what is, it's accepting what is, rather than fighting and trying to change what is. Because it's Katie says, and I believe it's an inside job. This is all an inside job. Changing my inner world and my inner perception, how I perceive what I think is happening in the world. So that then gave me the strength and the power to continue, because I knew it was something powerful. And so that year I went to see Katie in London, and then that took me to Nepal, where I was serving in Nepal, working in an orphanage for 3 months, where I had this very palpable daytime story of having a fabulous time with orphans, teaching English, maths, geography, and then in the evening times I was on my own in this tin hut in the monsoon season, heavy rains, frightened, scared. So I had this, like the turnarounds that we talk about in the work. My daytime was this, I'm happy, alive, I'm married with 2 children, 2 beautiful children, and then in the evening it was the story that I was tightly holding on to, that my marriage was breaking up, etc. And so it really clearly gave me, just in that year, this powerful picture of what was possible with inquiry, with self-inquiry.
Thank you so much. It touched me it touches me when you said how in that moment, so back for the first inquiry, you no longer felt separated. And it makes me realize how our own stories, our thoughts, which we think they protect us, or even they let us survive, but actually how often they separate us And in that way, yeah, the work, it is the journey of loving what is, and now I just think of the word wholeness, of finding or remembering that right when we were born as a baby, there wasn't me and my thoughts and that huge gap in between. On that level, it is a homecoming to something.
Wholeness, wholeness and integration. It's everything. Everything in my world is welcome here. Once I've sat in my story, once I've questioned it, everything is welcome, and that doesn't stop me from taking a pill when I'm in pain or walking away from an argument. You know, it doesn't stop me moving freely and moving on action, but I'm just a clearer human being, and I think, you know, that's what I feel is needed to be nurtured in the world. Clarity with this, you know, the soft rebellious part of like, no, I'm clear on this. This is not working for me. This fearful environment. So let's move it. Let's bring it to some peaceful clarity and some to the kindness, to the gentleness that inquiry can offer.
And say just that we all really, when you said, once I questioned my story, everything is welcome. Because in that moment, when we question the story, when we inquire with, because the inquiry happens from a place of love and true curiosity, right? Yeah. When we inquire, when we sit, when we question the story, yeah, isn't it in that moment we start the process? It truly becomes, that just arises on me, it becomes a part of me. Or it's in a way no longer, you know, in a way I also really honor the story. I say, wow, interesting, here you are. Goodness me, what a construct on a Monday morning, for example. I almost also, I honor that story. Sometimes I think, oh, my fears are so afraid from me judging them that they actually have to get even bigger.
Well, for me, for instance, with my father, it would be he doesn't love me. And as I think he doesn't love me, we talk about the order of creation in this work: think, feel, act, have. So when I have what I think is a father who doesn't love me, that's what I'm thinking, then I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling unwanted. And then I act from this dejected place. So my world becomes sad, it becomes lonely, it becomes isolated. And then what do I have in my world? I have a world where I feel distant from men. And then because I'm holding that story, I create my world. So I keep creating men that I feel disconnected from, or I don't feel loved by, let's say. And then when I can get clear, I get compassionate. When I, it's like, oh, look, like you said, this story's here again. Wow. And as I'm compassionate with myself with that story of I'm not lovable, I don't belong here, you know, he doesn't love me, I'm also compassionate with other people that I notice have these stories as well, because it's not unique, you know. These thoughts are shared. We're connected in mind. It is. I feel more and more. I tune into this one-mindedness as I do my work. My family shifts. And it's my perception. It's 100% my perception, and there is something that is connected here beyond what I can even imagine is possible. It shifts to a world of possibility with men and with relationship and with love and sharing love and intimacy. One of the freedoms that I have now is the freedom to love, and I didn't think that was possible. I was frightened or closed-hearted, or the stories of heartbreak, and it's like, oh no, that's too scary. Yeah.
Wow, you tapped into some really deep, wonderful wisdom, Evie. If we come to truly see and work with that we create our world, and with that the world we live in through our stories. Yeah. And if we do the inner, and I want to say, the work is world work, right? If we do the inner work, it creates these so profound like ripples, and it shifts our relationships and our family, and and we move towards one-mindedness, you said, and a world of possibility.
Yes.
And first and foremost in us, and then yes, around us too.
Yeah, the world becomes, it's a world of yes. In my experience, it's a world of just say yes. And that yes includes, it's like the power of knowing this isn't working for me right now, and yes, I can walk away, or yes, I can turn away, or yes, I can do my inquiry. But it's a powerful healing place. Yeah. Self-empowering.
Yes. The world of yes. And exactly through what you just said, that's why the work is a path to freedom, which doesn't mean that it needs commitment, and it's hard work sometimes. And I have that very often when I find myself, it would be easy to just lose myself in the gunk, but then no, you sit up and you write down and you do the work. But in that moment when we do it, we say, that is when we say yes, isn't it? I say yes, that's what is here. I find out what doesn't work, and we get with the turnarounds. I always feel that's like the homeopathic remedy.
Yes,
that's where I get a medicine.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, for me, it does. It's like every single piece of inquiry, piece of work I do is another piece in this jigsaw puzzle, and it's an ever-expanding, eternal, infinite jigsaw puzzle. This is what I think life is. So I do my work, and when I wake up in the morning and let's say I'm feeling depressed or lethargic, or another day, oh my goodness, I'm feeling like that. There is this spacious capacity in me that is accepting, and it is, oh sweetheart, you've done this so well. The depressed part, it's like, you've done this so well, and I've played with this part, which is I give myself an Oscar award for being so good at that depressed part, or the depressed Evie, or because I've lived it most of my life. So what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it, and I know what to do to help it. So it has its place, it has its wisdom, it has its teachings, and I'm not going to banish it from my life. I want to include it. It has a right to life. It has a right to live here. And the acceptance, loving what is accepting what is. So that's accepting myself. And that's accepting everyone and everything that I think shows up that way. Again, that's my, if I see someone as depressed, then it's my depressed part that's meeting it, and if I want some clarity and some love in this space, I'm going to do my work.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually just a really a lovely way to just understand how, if I see that depressed part in him or her, it's my depressed part seeing it. So if we do. And it's a jigsaw puzzle work. I love that. That's also really empowering or encouraging. But if we work on all those parts, it changes how I see perceive the jigsaw puzzle of the world and around me. I wonder in that moment too, to make it even more real and really let listeners taste from it's like nectar of the work.
Yes.
Do you think we have time to do a shortish inquiry?
Yes.
I think that would be so powerful.
Yeah, so what is something that is causing you any kind of upset in your world? Just take a moment, tune into that. What's upsetting or irritating you?
Yeah, immediately what arises, I'm going to be very emergent. I didn't plan that. So immediately what arises, and that's an interesting one, is that situation yesterday morning when I woke up and I did my morning practice and I installed my little office and computer and started writing on a very creative piece. I'm writing on a creative piece at the moment. And as I started writing, I was bombarded with thoughts that thought, who are you to write this piece? Who are you to write this piece? How do you know? How do you know? What are the precise? Who are you to write this piece? There was very much fierce judgment. Oh my goodness! If you're gonna finish that and would even put that into the world, you will be crucified. You will be judged. Others have written that already, much better, bigger, bolder. You haven't. We come closer to the truth. That the thought was, who are you to write this piece with? When you've only spent 10 years of your life dealing with that matter. That was the big one.
Yeah, so who are you to write this piece? And I noticed this, the fear, because this is what I love to get close to. What's the fear here? What are you frightened of? And you're frightened of being judged. I heard that, you're frightened of being judged. You're frightened of being crucified. So if you write this piece, others will judge you.
Yes, that's.
Or if you publish
something
this piece,
when I hear it.
If you publish this piece, others will judge you. They will see you as not good enough, or who are you? As you said, who are you to write this? So let's hold that. So there you are. Be there now, Florina. You're waking up. You're preparing to write, and you're bombarded with these thoughts. And one of them is that we've just identified, if you publish this piece, others will judge you. So question number one, as you sit with this, is it true? If you publish this piece, others will judge you.
Interesting. The first I asked that question immediately. The voice said, "Yeah, of course, lots of people judge." And I ask again, if I publish that book, others will judge me. Is that true? How can I know that this is true? And actually, the answer is no.
Yeah. So take that in. Just let that no in. And irrespective of the truth of this, there you were yesterday morning, bombarded with these thoughts, and one of them is, if you publish this book, this piece, others will judge you. What happens to you when you're in that space? What's it like to be you? What's your world? What happens in your world when you're thinking that thought? If you publish this piece, others will judge you.
I feel immediately, and I can feel it in my body. I feel incredibly. I feel as if the ground is swept away underneath my feet. I really feel my that whole heart area started to like flutter. I lose a sort of flutter, as if it actually feels as if my whole body kind of starts to flutter, and I really lose connection. I lose connection to the ground, to myself. It's very scary. I'm scared. I feel nervous. I want to cry and just really hide underneath all blankets I find in our flat.
Yeah.
In that moment when I think that thought, I almost don't know how to be with myself. I feel overwhelmed and desperate.
Yeah. So what do you think the mind's motive is for thinking this? What do you think you're gaining by thinking, if I publish this book, others will judge me?
The first impulse which comes is the thought kind of again is that it kind of tests me. It tests my commitments, my in inverted commas seriousness with it. It challenges the meaning this has to me. When you ask this question, I see it's interesting you ask this question, and this thought kind of suddenly becomes a little figure which kind of nudges me and tickles me a little bit and saying, come on, how? So then tell me how serious you are really about that.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's a kinder way to do this. Like, is there a kinder way to feel into this commitment, feel into this seriousness of writing this book, of publishing this book? Is there a kinder way than thinking, if I publish this book, others will judge me?
You mean, is there a kinder way to... Or just ask that again.
Yeah, is there a kinder way, rather than thinking, if you publish this book, others will judge you, is there a kinder way of achieving this commitment in the morning as you wake up?
Well, the immediate yes, there is a kinder way. There is a kinder way. Should I just say what?
Yes, yeah, please.
Because there is a kinder way. If I publish this piece, the first thing which just comes, if I publish this piece, I'll feel so good in myself.
Yes, yeah.
If I publish, that would be a kinder way. If I publish this book, this piece, let's keep calling it a piece. If I publish this piece, I feel so in connection, so aligned. I feel so free.
Yeah, so it's like we're getting closer to question 4. If we just take a pause for a moment, question 4 is, who are you? What are you? You're waking up in the morning, there you are, bombarded by these thoughts. Who are you in that moment without the thought, if you publish this piece, others will judge you? What's that like?
It's interesting. It's a complete different story. Without that thought, I'm sitting here, there is my new big screen, a blank page, all possibility for words. The screen is now almost smiling to me. I can feel the space in between, but I feel that we're actually both, me and all these tools are held within us. I really feel kind of just the space we share, and this fluttering changed. It's more like kind of a grounding humming in me and out of me, and here I am doing what I love to do.
Mm-hmm. And what's that like? Tell us, what's that like? What's the direct experience of that? Being you, sitting at the screen without the thought, if you publish this book, this piece, others will judge you. What's it like to be you without that thought?
It's peaceful. It feels peaceful. It does feel intimate. I feel much more intimate to something in me. It feels I want to say something is simpler. There is something more opening or embracing. I feel direct experiences that I now can also breathe and kind of move and type into something.
Yeah.
There is more space.
Yeah. So just taking that in, taking that spaciousness, that heartful, that connection, that intimacy. What would you be free to do? What would that give you without this thought? If you publish this piece, others will judge you.
It's wonderful in that moment. It also feels how without that thought, how something it's very interesting, never had that, I suddenly really feel, I guess, the place where my root chakra is, or where or just my pelvic ball. I feel kind of my pelvis, my perineum, really strongly rooting down. As if, that's interesting, which I didn't feel before, as if I'm tapping into something.
Yeah.
I'm really aware of that place.
Yeah, so the very roots of you, the very power, you know, that sacral power, that pelvis power is really being felt. Powerhouse.
And now I know I jump ahead, but a turnaround, literally, does that happen when we do that a lot? A turnaround just flew into my field.
Yes.
I really have to laugh.
Okay.
So if the thought is, if I publish this piece, I get judged. The one turnaround came now. I get judged if I don't publish this piece. I will get judged. I will get chastened. Which is in a way made me laugh.
Yeah.
I might seriously get judged if I don't do it, and I might judge myself more if I don't do it than if I do it, then I'll have to sit with the self-judgments.
Yeah.
But if I don't do it, I'll have to sit with the judgments for why I didn't do it.
Yes.
And maybe that's even more true, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, do you see any other turnarounds? If you publish this piece, others will judge you.
Another turnaround is if this, but I'm not quite sure what to do with that, if this piece publishes me, others will judge me. If this piece publishes me. And I think that in a way feels true, or more true to me insofar if I lose the connection to myself and I just let that thing do something with me, then it's actually, if I still allow these fears and stories to be in the way, then maybe I'll suddenly run myself into something where that piece almost publishes me. It's actually really powerful and true. And then it's something which isn't me, and I guess that is tempting to judge if you see something and you feel doesn't really feel very authentic or aligned.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that, Florina. And I'm tuning into the turnaround, that turning this all around to the self. So if I publish me, I will judge me. Just try that on. See if you find any truth in that. If I publish me, I will judge me.
I publish me. Yeah, I think, or I feel what resonates is, yeah, it actually feels quite raw and true, because if I publish me, I will judge me. Because if I publish this creative piece, which is coming from me, then I will, or the one who I'm mostly afraid of being judged from is me.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yeah. It's if other people think, just try this on, what in my experience, if other people think about me what I'm thinking about me, that is where I'm in hell.
If other people think about me what I think about me, what did you say there? That's
where I'm in hell. So for example, in your situation, staying close in that situation as you're waking up and having all these downloads of unworthiness. Who am I to write this piece? If I publish that piece inside of me, I'm judging me. So if I run with those fearful thoughts, if I publish those, and as I'm thinking them and I'm attaching to them and believing them, then it's like I'm publishing that. It may not be in the book, but it's in the piece that I'm in the moment. Yeah. Does that resonate? Yeah.
Yes, that resonates. That resonates hugely.
Yeah.
Yes. And I can feel, when I sit with that turnaround, I can feel how the whole piece gets so dense and so it's not anymore that freedom it had before.
Yes. Yeah.
When I sat without having that thought.
Yeah, that's it. The question for space without the thought is that's the place to nurture, in my experience, to nurture that. The turnarounds are it's like a loosening. This whole process is an education practice, moving me to the freedom of question 4, who am I without the thought? And then the thoughts, it's like, if you publish this piece, others will judge you favourably. They're like, oh my, then it's the space for this. There's capacity for loving. What did you say in question 4? You said that you felt peaceful, heartful, intimate, open and embracing. So when you sit with you in that, all of a sudden the outside world, those people that judge you, your thought, they match, they become, it's like a marriage, it's a union. So those people, us, the outside world that judge you, we're going to judge you in that heartfelt, intimate, loving space. How does that land with you?
Yes, what was that absolutely lands? And you said what was the turnaround you said before you now explained it? You said if you
publish me, if you publish this book, others will judge you heartfully, others will judge you peacefully, intimately, embracingly. It's like a huge big fat yes, right? And congratulations.
You know what's the one with intimately, that's stress. That feels really, that really fits. That really feels like a very potent, if I publish this piece, others will judge me intimately.
So at this time, I would invite you to just pause, and for listeners, if anyone's been following along with this particular piece of work, or it's like just to pause and take in this truth, just sitting in the wisdom that you're discovering. Just imagining what that would be like to live that in your world. If you publish this piece, others will judge you intimately. Breathing that in.
It's very touching as I just really breathe that in. It really feels like integration happens. It feels like the others, me, and the piece I'm writing on. Yeah, it feels like we share one mind. It feels like we read and know each other's mind. It's like it does feel like we share one mind. It feels like the piece comes out of me and I come out of them and they come out of me.
That's beautiful. As I watched you there, it's like this flower blossoming and blooming and revealing itself.
And it's suddenly as if it's so wonderful. It's now suddenly the others who I was afraid would judge me are kind of cheerleading me, and the piece is cheerleading me, and we are all cheerleading each other.
Yes. I have this image of, it's like because you were talking about your pelvic region, really like feeling the power in that. It's like the seed is being sown down there of this creativity, and then it's being nurtured and fed with this intimate creation that you are, that you have inside of you. when you publish it?
Yeah, when that image appeared, it made me realize why, or for me, what I find so beautiful about the work, and I think what I so cherish about this process is how, if you just read it on an A4 paper, it can seem so pragmatic, so intellectual, so cognitive, just these thoughts, but it's these very clear questions, but it opens up the space for so much to arise and appear, which we can't grasp with our mind. It each time feels like like I nurture my imagination, my potential to imagine, to dream, and it becomes a very spiritual it is a very spiritual practice. It is a meditative practice. I think that's what fascinates me, how it's such a clear process, but it has its very own wildly poetic life.
It does, that's right. And you said that so beautifully. It's like if every single cell in my body, of which I imagine there are trillions, if every single one has a thinking, feeling, imagining memory space, then look at what you're doing every time you sit in inquiry. Look at the shift. Look at the possibility, look at the open-heartedness and the expansion and the one-mindedness, the connectedness, the intimacy. These are qualities, I think, that we yearn for, right? We yearn for this place of intimacy.
Yes. Yeah. Need to write this down. We yearn for this place of intimacy. Absolutely, Evie. We yearn for this, and that in a way beautifully closes the circle, right? I reached out to you in that despair of struggling with my relationship to body and food, and I was so hungry and I couldn't feed myself, and what I was truly hungry for was exactly that place. I was hungry to finally be intimate with myself and know and feel and sense that I'm good enough.
Yes.
And I'm deeply touched as I say this, how the work I start with these words and I end with that has been such a catalyst on this homecoming journey.
Yes.
And I want to encourage all listeners. I'm so grateful that we now did the work together, that they could all witness, and I so encourage everyone to read the book. There is an amazing podcast also. I'll put your webpage and everything into the show notes. I so encourage you to reach out to Evie if you're drawn to do that, and sit with you.
Thank you, Florina. This is so touching that Katie writes about, in discovering the innocence of the person you judged, you eventually come to recognize your own innocence, and this intimacy, this innocence that's deep within every one of us. We are innocent. We're born as children, as babies. We're born innocent. We remain innocent beings, yet the veils of thoughts, of illusions, cover us up with muck and detritus, and so that was so beautiful to sit with you in that inquiry. Thank you for diving in, and thank you for showing. For me, what touched me is the meditation process. It really is meditation, isn't it?
It is meditation
and spiritual practice.
And it's wonderful. I have to say that you say that innocent place, which is why I always think and feel the embryo in me. That floating, that innocent, fluid, just so raw place. Very intimate place.
I'd like to share with you. So, as a teacher and a trainer of this work, I like to sit with my baby part. I have this image of this beautiful little Evie, and she's around 8 months old, probably just learning words, but I hold her as a pre-verbal place. And I look at her and I say, okay, what judgments do you have? What is it that I was learning about my world at that time with my angry father and my emotionally destructive mother, that, you know, this fearful environment that I grew up in? What is it that you want to tell me that I can sit with to nurture this inquiry even more, to expand and grow and love even more, you know, just opening up into that world of possibility? And just recently I sat with this little baby with this photo of me, and she was completely silent. She said nothing. It was just, there was this deep, silent, still place. I thought, oh my God, this is sitting with the guru, this is sitting with the master. What words could you possibly use that would judge another person? This is the innocent baby showing me how innocent we are as beings in this world. I felt so blessed by that.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
And that's inside all of us.
Yeah, I just want to say, if we all come to feel and see the master that she is actually in that's our inner child, just there with so clarity and knowing and trust.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're so welcome. It's such a delight to see you again and to be with you and to dive into this work. It's a real honour, real privilege. Yeah, thank you, Florina.
What a wonderful conversation, and I'm so grateful that you have tuned in today and listened and witnessed to what Evie and I were sharing, exploring together. And I want to say thank you, dear Evie, for coming onto the podcast and for sharing your incredible, profound wisdom with us. And I'm looking forward to hear from you, dear listener. What is your takeaway from today's episode? What struck you? What touched you? What inspired you? This is a conversation. The Soft Rebellion, the movement, the universe of the Soft Rebellion is a conversation, and it's nurtured as much by my impulse as it is by yours. And my email is softrebellion@florinatali.com, and I'm awaiting to hear from you. You can also tag me on social media @florina.tali, and I'd love to hear your takeaways. I'd love to hear where you are on your Soft Rebellion journey, how she shows up for you, what gifts, what challenges, what joys, what gunk you are encountering, and how you encounter it. And also, if you would like to be the next podcast guest on the podcast, then I'd love to host you. I'm sending you so much love. Go and be your unique, weird, and wonderful self.